Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Dillian Whyte is in Las Vegas right now and he's making no secret that he's sort of shopping himself around. He's having, as he describes, business meetings. He's testing the waters, as he says, and he's just having a look at the market, seeing what's out there for Dillian Whyte. He says he's building up the brand Dillian Whyte. He's in the business of Dillian Whyte, and why not have a look? He revealed in an interview with Fight Hype that he is on a fight-by-fight basis with Eddie Hearn, and in between fights he can do what he likes, but their relationship built on trust, and they have been working together for some time, since, 2016. So, 3 years and about 9 fights or so, since the Anthony Joshua fight. And you know what? I think some of this what's going on because Whyte is making no secret about what's happening. He was even sort of offering up some breadcrumbs for these different interviewers to sort of pick up on and ask him questions. The Fight Hype guy, he did pick up on it. Behind the gloves, Michelle Joy Phelps, she was dropped a bit of a I'm testing the waters, but she continued with her own line of questioning on something else. But Whyte, clearly, he wants a bit of love. He wants a bit of respect. Right now, he is the number 2 in the Matchroom stable, and it will be forever so. He is the second place winner in the beauty contest. He will never usurp or pass Anthony Joshua in popularity or commercial value. And he will know this, and we're in a situation right now where he's trying to negotiate with his stablemate a fight for April the 13th at Wembley, and he feels that he's not being treated with respect, that he's been given a joke offer, something that really shouldn't have come to him, and he said he feels like he's been treated like he's just some sort of journeyman, a bit of a nothing. And he said in one of those interviews, either the Behind the Gloves or the Fight Hype interview, I can't remember which one, that Eddie Hearn said to him, "I told Anthony Joshua, that's not enough. It's not going to get a deal done." But the offer still came to Dillian Whyte as low as it was. And you can tell here that Dillian Whyte just feels like he's not getting the respect he believes that he's earned. He has been on a bit of a PR tour recently, all over British media and now all over American boxing media. He's in Las Vegas. He's making no secret that he's a free agent, testing the waters, having business meetings, that he's building this brand, that he is a serious contender in the heavyweight division, and that he should be treated with some respect. And he didn't feel that he got that from Anthony Joshua. And reading between the lines here, he kind of has implied that Eddie Hearn hasn't had his back. And obviously, when he's working for both guys, he's kind of like a bit of a real estate agent, but often the real estate agent in any deal, they will always favour the seller. And I think in this case, Joshua would be the seller. He's trying to sell the fight to Dillian Whyte. And in this case, he's trying to get it for as cheap as possible because he wants to make as much money as possible. And in that Behind the Gloves interview, he said that he got less than Alexander Povetkin did for the Anthony Joshua fight back in September 2018. You might recall, Alexander Povetkin said he was getting $4 million for that fight. But who knows what the actual specific number was, but it is less from what Dillian Whyte is saying that Alexander Povetkin got. But also, he got more for the Derek Chisora fight. So clearly he is doing sort of decent numbers. And you may have seen in some of these interviews, it's almost like Dillian Whyte is selling himself. He is sort of shilling himself out, trying to talk up his virtues, what he's done in the division, who he's been fighting, where he's come from to where he is now, a pay-per-view fighter. And in these interviews, he was saying, you know, Tyson Fury's had less pay-per-views than me. Deontay Wilder has less pay-per-views than me. Vladimir Klitschko had less pay-per-views than me. I've had 3 pay-per-views. So he's trying to talk up what he brings to the table. Some of this is just a sales pitch, one for the Anthony Joshua fight, but potentially in general, more broadly, talking to other promoters. He wants to, if he is to jump ship, and we'll get to that shortly, he wants a decent offer. He's not just going to jump ship, jump to the other side of the fence, you know, for peanuts. But he did say, look, I know what I'm worth. I know the value I bring. I know the TV deals. He said he's his own manager. He knows all the financials. He actually said, I'm not a Carlos Takam. I'm not an Alexander Povetkin. I know my stuff because I'm close to it. And he said for an Anthony Joshua fight, they got to come and talk to me seriously. And he is getting another offer, and that is what Eddie Hearn has said. Whether Dillian Whyte will class it as a serious offer, well, who knows? But you have to look at this as well with this Joshua fight and go, okay, Dillian Whyte does have some leverage here, because if Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder go off and fight each other, which is the most likely outcome, they don't like the offers from Anthony Joshua. They've been offered 40% now from Eddie Hearn on Joshua's behalf. And if they don't like it, they can just fight each other. It may be less overall, but the winner, they can then probably demand closer to 50%, if not 50%, in a fight with Joshua. All these other guys will start catching up to Joshua if they're beating each other and getting, climbing the ladder, doing some of the hard work that Joshua has already done on the commercial front. So Whyte knows that outside of those two guys, who else can fill Wembley with Anthony Joshua? Whyte's pretty confident that he can. I'm not so sure it does 90 or 100,000. I think it would go close, but I'm not sure it would be a sellout. You still have that issue of some of those coach packages, and that proved an issue for the Alexander Povetkin fight. If there's not overwhelming interest for an event like that, people just won't buy those packages. They don't want to travel from some far-flung place if it doesn't suit them to get a coach to the ground, and then for it to take them back to that far-flung place, which they may not necessarily live that close to, and a public transport at that time of night might be a bit of a nightmare, and they might have to catch other bits. There's people plan their nights and they want it to be as easy as possible. So if there's not overwhelming interest like there was for the Klitschko fight, the coach packages, again, might not shift, so it may not be a sellout again. But out of all the likely guys at the moment, so if you're looking at Jarrell Miller, if he's an option for Wembley, if Alexander Usyk, Kubrat Pulev, Dillian Whyte, those guys, and we're excluding Fury and Wilder here, I think Whyte is probably going to generate the most interest. There is a history there with Joshua. He's been saying a number of things lately that will help stir some of the rivalry back up, and even Eddie Hearn has said it, but he's a salesman as well. He said that Anthony Joshua wants to fight Whyte because of some of the things that Whyte's been saying. And as I've been saying for a while now, this sort of stuff, it's not uncommon. They will talk like this in the lead up to a fight being announced, because when the fight is announced, they want the narrative set, they want it humming, and they want people to get invested in what's going on. So Dillian Whyte, he knows he's got a bit of leverage here. He was the second option for Anthony Joshua after Deontay Wilder, and Wilder's not happening. So he doesn't need to just take peanuts here. And he knows if they can't get him over the line for a deal, they may have to pull the pin on Wembley. That is an outside possibility. I still think they will keep Wembley, just because it would be a massively bad look to pull the pin. All the stuff, the planning, the millions of dollars that probably have been spent on all manner of things, stadium hire being a big part of that, all the associated logistics and other things they already have to have and train for an event that big. And it would be a massive PR hit for Anthony Joshua. So if it's not Whyte, they could go to another backup option, or alternatively, they could drop the date altogether, take the hit financially, and then go and fight Jarrell Miller sometime later in the year, potentially in June. That is some of the word that's coming out. That could be a backup option if everything goes pear-shaped. I still think, though, that they will try to keep that date for as long as they can, even if it's not Dillian Whyte. But the more Dillian Whyte sort of holds out, the more he's likely to get. Because one, if he is on a fight-by-fight deal, he doesn't necessarily just have to roll over. He can really sort of hold out. He's his own manager. He's negotiating directly here. 2, he knows Joshua is running out of options. Fury and Wilder aren't really in play by the looks of it. And 3, he will probably be aware that it would be a bad look if Anthony Joshua can't get Dillian Whyte and he has to go for a lesser option or cancel the event altogether. So he does have some leverage here. And I know that there is the narrative going, well, Anthony Joshua is the A side, he's built up the commercial value, and, he should be just fighting for the heavyweight titles. That is an honor in itself. Come on, get real. They're prize fighters. They do it for money. And if Dillian Whyte has any ounce of leverage here, he's going to use it to the fullest. And some of this other talk about, from him, that he's testing the waters, having business meetings, it sort of falls into that as well. Potentially, he could sort of say, well, I might step out of the tent here, give me some love, give me some respect. And going over to Vegas and just having a look around, listening to what people have to say, potentially seeing what a deal may look like if he was to go somewhere and what the career path could look like. Why wouldn't he do that? He's a free agent, and if you are in that position, why wouldn't you want to listen to offers? And it's also a bit of a signal to Eddie Hearn. Look, if you're not good to me, if you don't continue to be good to me, I might, fly the coop here. But Eddie Hearn, relatively speaking, has been very good to Dillian Whyte. He's built him up after the Anthony Joshua loss. And he's got him on pay-per-view, selling pay-per-views back-to-back, Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora. I mean, what other guys in the division right now that are not title fighters are in such big pay-per-views like that, and they don't actually have a title or anything meaningful on the line for that Parker and also Chisora fight? So they are creaming it on the money front, and Eddie Hearn has delivered 7-figure paydays for Dillian Whyte, millions of pounds in the past 2 fights. So Dillian Whyte's really got to look at the situation carefully and consider his options, because if he goes somewhere else, he could, well, one, be mismanaged, he could be inactive to some point, he probably wouldn't be on pay-per-view. And if he was, would he be getting the opponents that he has been? Because some of being in the Matchroom stable has guaranteed him some of the decent, names in the division, like Parker and Chisora. So it's going to be very interesting time. So I don't begrudge Dillian Whyte to having a look and a listen, seeing what's out there. Do I think he's going to leave Matchroom? Probably not. But I think this is, at the same time, it's a bit of a signal. Eddie Hearn, you better straighten up and fly right. Make sure that, I'm in your plans, that I'm a guy that is a big part of Matchroom here. Treat me with some love and respect, and I'll be good to you as well. Because he'll want it to be a two-way street. He won't just want the love going to Joshua and to feel completely neglected. Because some of the things that he's been saying publicly, that's the way that he, seems to be feeling. That he's being treated like a journeyman, as he said. He said, I'm not some sort of journeyman. I know what I'm worth, know the value I bring. So I don't mind Dillian Whyte having a look around, testing the waters. I mean, if he talks to Top Rank or PBC or whoever, it's just talk at the moment. If he does something, well, then we can talk about potential ramifications. But he will have to look at what has happened in his career, the position that he's in. He might not have got a title fight, but he's got extremely rich off the back of Eddie Hearn and some of the stuff that Hearn has done for him in the past 18 months or so. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.